So today we are starting Chapter 9, and the title of today's lesson is Basic Combinatorics. That basically just means we are counting. So a quick little review of what we've been talking about so far. All year we've been talking mainly about continuous mathematics, and that means that we can think about things on a number line. So we can look at a number line from 1 to 10, and we can find a number in between like 5, and then we can look at 1 through 5 and keep zooming in. We could say, oh, 2 is between 1 and 5. We could say that 1.5 is between 1 and 2. And we could keep looking at smaller, more specific numbers. Eventually, we could look at something like 1.000000000004567 We can keep zooming in. Okay, today we start looking at discrete math, and that is much different. That means that we are simply counting. So we look at there being 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 different options. You're only going to be looking at whole numbers in this lesson. And from there, we can start looking at probability and statistics a little bit more. So our first big idea is what we call the multiplication principle of counting. And basically that means if you have things that you're trying to pick out in different stages, how do you come up with a total number of possibilities, total number of options that you can end up with? And really what all you're going to do is look at each individual stage, find the number of options for each stage, and multiply all those numbers together. There's two different things that you want to look for in that. The first one is when it's a dependent situation. That means whatever you pick in the first stage is going to change how many options you have in the second stage. So a typical question would be like right here in example 1, in how many different ways can 3 distinguishable objects be arranged in order? So there are 3 different objects. As you pick one, that means that you can't use it again. So we would start out in the first stage, we have 3 options. Second stage, we only have 2 options left, and then the third stage, we simply have 1 option. We multiply those numbers together, we get 6. If you're in class, I'll probably show you a tree diagram that shows you exactly why we only have 6 options, but otherwise make sure you ask a question about that when you're back from spring break. Another nice easy thing about this is your calculator will help you figure some of this out. If you use the math menu and you go over to the probability and you find the factorial symbol, just an exclamation mark, that is basically what you would be doing right here. So 3 factorial simply means 3 times 2 times 1, and it'll get you the answer of 6. Okay, compare that to example 2, where we have an independent situation. That means that options can be repeated. Whatever you do in the first stage doesn't have an effect on what you can do in the third or fourth stage. So if we have a license plate and it has 4 letters followed by 3 numbers, we can repeat those things. How many different options are there? Well, for the first stage, we're going to have 26 letters to choose from, then another 26 letters, another 26 letters, another 26 letters. That's the first 4 stages. And then there are 10 numbers, 0 all the way through 9. So 10 times 10 times 10. We multiply the possibilities for all 7 stages together. We get this huge number, and that's how many license plates we could make if we're allowed to repeat. So dependent, you cannot repeat. Independent, you are allowed to repeat. Make sure you note the difference.